Hey, I'm Ted Drozdowski from Premier Guitar, and we're visiting with Matthew from Alexander Pedals. And we're going to talk about two new pedals that they have today. And man, why don't you take it away? Tell us about the Chesapeake.
Okay, so the Chesapeake is our new deluxe chorus vibrato rotary speaker simulator pedal. It's got a stereo output, which is new for us, and it's also got a tap tempo in our compact enclosure. So it's got three modes: an ensemble mode, which is a single voice chorus, like the old blue Stomp box, and it's got a dimension mode, which is like the old purple Stomp box, and then it's got a rotary mode, which is kind of a cross between a Leslie speaker, a tremolo, and a chorus pedal.
Cool. And is it powered by a 9-volt battery as well, or is it off the board?
All of our stuff is no 9-volt. We use, everybody has a power supply these days, and we feel they're more reliable and more eco-conscious. Yeah.
Cool. Why don't you take us through the steps on this while we listen?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the ensemble mode, we've got a classic single voice chorus. We've got adjustable rate and depth, so it can go very slow, much faster. And you can also use the tap tempo foot switch to align the speed with the tempo of the music you're playing. So you can make it go very slow. We've also added a color knob, which lets us adjust the high end on the chorus. So that helps it sit in a mix better without necessarily being louder. You can make it very bright and present in 80s type chorus, or you can back it off and have a little more contemporary sound. We've got a full mix control. It goes from fully dry like this to a chorus sound in the middle, and the fully wet sound is actually a pitch vibrato. So you can do stuff like the blue Stomp box. I'm sure your viewers will be familiar with some of these names that I can't say. So we've also added a feature in our deluxe series that we call the virtual knob. And on the Chesapeake, the virtual knob is accessed by holding the bypass foot switch. It's accessed by holding the bypass foot switch. So you hold the bypass foot switch, and I don't know if your camera can see this, but the brightness of the bypass LED changes to show the status of the virtual knob. The Chesapeake, the virtual knob is a level control, so you can actually tweak the output level of the pedal to suit, to balance with your bypass signal, or you can even use the chorus to obtain a slight boost when it's kicked in. So,
and why don't you show us the toggle modes too?
Sure. So the ensemble mode you've heard, the dimension mode uses two oscillators, so we obtain a wider stereo field, a wider sound with less warbling. The two oscillators move in opposite directions, so they tend to cancel out the sort of the wateriness. It'll get pretty watery if you want it to, but it's nowhere near as pulsating and warbly as the dimension mode. And again, in stereo, this one's quite wide sounding. The color control is the tone knob in this as well. And then finally, the rotary mode. The color control controls the tremolo effect. Let me turn that down a little bit. So we've got a tremolo, and then we can add in a vibrato instead. And then we can mix the two. And you can speed this up and down either by tapping the foot switch or holding the foot switch or adjusting the rate knob, however you like to do it.
Cool. Well, let's move on to the equilibrium pedal.
All right, so last year when we launched the line, we released the Equilibrium as one of our initial pedals. It's vintage style modulation, so it covers amplifier type modulation from the 50s and 60s. So there's a tremolo mode, which is your classic amplitude variation. And there's a harmonic mode, like the old Fender Brown Face and Blonde amps, the Brown Concert, the Blonde Bandmaster, things like that, which is a little more phasey sounding, for lack of a better word. And then there's a pitch vibrato, which is like the Magnatone amps. It's the Don Bonham designed frequency variation effect. And that actually sounds a little bit better fast. And we've added the tap tempo control with this and a half speed switch. So when you hold down the foot switch, it goes from the tempo that you tapped in to half that. So you can always tap quarter notes, and you can either get exactly what you tapped in, or you can get half that speed. Tremolo often goes pretty slow or pretty fast, and so you can tap it in. We've also got a mix control on this, which in the vibrato mode blends in the straight signal and actually gives you a little bit of a phase sound. One of the updates we've done from the original Equilibrium to the Deluxe is we've changed the way the tone control, the shape control works. In the original one, we let you blend between a sine wave and a square wave, and that's cool and interesting, but we wanted to give you more control on this one, so we've actually made that it's a sine wave or a ramp up now, and you can see the LED pulses up, or there's a ramp down, or there's a square wave. And that actually, we found, gets you pretty close to a univibe sound. The univibe wave is pretty abrupt, and so you get this kind of wah, 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 yeah.
And what's the price tag on both of these pedals?
Both of these guys are $239.99, and they're available at alexanderpedals.com or at any of our dealers.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. alexanderpedals.com is where you find out more about what you're up to.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool, man. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And to find out more about what we're covering here at Summer NAMM on Premier Guitar, go to premierguitar.com, Summer NAMM 2016. Thanks, y'all.